Roadhog needs to flank, but needs to do his flanking during a very specific part or time of the team fight to get value, and then after that, doesn't flank. Alright, so today we're going to be doing a VOD review of a Gold Roadhog player. Gold Roadhog. Roadhog on Junkertown. This Roadhog player is 2300. And I would like to say thank you very much for pinging me when you posted your VOD. Just makes it easier for things to catch my attention. Fortunately, I am a little bit more busy. My schedule is a little bit worse for doing VOD reviews right now, with all the coronavirus going around and stuff. Has affected me in different ways, like schedule-wise, so I don't have as much time as I did before, but thanks for pinging me. You made it very easy to see it, and I just threw it in my schedule and have made time to do it. Notes. I would like to know what I'm supposed to do as Roadhog, and should I protect my team more? Should I be going on crazy flanks? When to use my ult? My hook accuracy is okay, but could improve. Alright, cool. So I'll definitely be kind of looking at those topics that you have in your notes, and yeah. I just want to give it a second until the last member of your team chooses a hero. Because then I want to talk about team comps real quick. Just really, really briefly. Okay. Perfect. Alright, let's talk about team compositions. So for your team, healer-wise, you're running Moira, you're running Ana. They're both main heals. They're a decent combo. The only thing with Moira Ana is you don't have a lot of utility, so you don't have like a Zen ult. You don't have a lot of... Usually main supports, their ults are more tempo-based than... Or they're not defensive ults usually. They're more tempo-based ults. So Moira's ults are very tempo-based, and his ults can be really good, but is, again, very tempo-based, usually comboed with someone else for some other ult. But that's fine, again. No big worry. DPS wise, you guys have Hanzo and Junkrat. These are both very much spam characters, so they're probably not going to be sitting on cart. They're going to be high ground, shooting bombs, shooting arrows, all sorts of good stuff. Tank wise, you guys have Ball and you have Roadhog. I'm going to talk about this for a second, even though I'm sure it'll be a slightly unpopular opinion. Ball Hog is actually a decent combo, especially at higher SR, because they're not terrible. The only thing is, Ball as a hero plays incredibly different than any other tank, and he's also incredibly... To play Ball really well, or to play Hammond, I should say, really well, you have to have a lot of tech, like a lot of technical knowledge about the hero. You have to know a lot of tech for Hammond. Timing is a big thing. So honestly, below Plat, maybe even including Plat, it's really rough to play with a Ball, because the tendency for a Ball is to just kind of roll and shoot as opposed to use all their tech, and this will be a little rough. But again, I don't want to really talk about that because you're not playing Ball, and a lot of times you can't get your teammates to switch. So let's talk about what you have. You, by far, Roadhog is a poke character, and Ball is dive. So it's going to be a little bit awkward to for you guys to complement each other, but let's talk more about what your responsibilities are with this kind of team comp, and I'm sure I'll get into that a little bit more, because Roadhog as a tank is really weird. There's different phases where he does really well, and you have to really understand what those phases are and capitalize on them. So what you're going to be doing in this team comp, or what probably is the most ideal thing for you to do, is right now you don't have anyone to push cart, so it is probably going to be your job to sit on cart. And my reasoning behind that is, Ana's not going to sit on cart. She's way back. Hammond's going to be diving. Your 2 DPS are going to be off on flanks or mini flanks, trying to get in a lot of spam in. You don't have a shield to stand behind, so your DPS aren't going to be sitting behind the shield. They're going to be trying to find cover through natural terrain. And the Moira is, a Moira. Even though she does a lot of healing, she doesn't really want to be frontline. So what you're going to have to be doing here is you're going to have to be sitting on cart to push cart, but almost more importantly is you're going to have to be able to understand when the poke phase of a team fight is and how to capitalize on that, because you need to get good hooks. You need to get picks for your team. And I'll probably talk about that a little bit later, because that's a super, super important part of playing Roadhog, is understanding the different phases of a team fight and what phase you are crazy effective in and what phase you need to be like very effective in. So yeah, I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, your job is going to be dual fold. You're going to have to kind of be babysitting the cart and looking for picks at very specific times during team fights. So to kind of start to answer your first question, when should you be going on crazy flanks? The thing is Roadhog, especially right now, like a while ago, Roadhog was really good and he could go on crazy flanks, but Roadhog can't be going on crazy flanks. Like, Roadhog needs to flank, but needs to do his flanking during a very specific part or time of the team fight to get value, and then after that, doesn't flank. Now, obviously, man, this is like a full-blown rabbit hole at this point. I'll try and talk about it a little bit more as we go through, but yeah, Roadhog, you have to be. Roadhog has to flank, but has to be very careful about when he flanks, because if he's flanking the whole time, he'll get no value, or he'll get one pick and he won't be there for his team. I'm not sure why you're looking at stairs here. I think you want to try and like flick hook this Hanzo. I don't know. Unlucky. You sit behind the cart and take cover. Very odd hook. Not the targeting. The targeting was fine. So I'll actually keep watching. There's two kinds of hooks with Roadhog, though. And I'll talk about this if I see this again. There's no reason to drop off the high ground here. You add no more. So Roadhog as a character has a lot of survivability. His take a breather is incredibly powerful, and he has a lot of HP to begin with, but there's still no reason to jump into an enemy team, because during this part, I guess I should just explain this now, shouldn't I? Okay, I guess I'll just start this explanation now, because I knew we had to get to it at some point. I was hoping to wait a little bit later before I started talking about this, but okay, so in a team fight, there's a couple of different phases. Spawn. You've got your poke phase. Sorry for the writing. It's a little bit hard to do with a mouse. So yeah, there's a couple different phases in a team fight, and this is something as a Roadhog player specifically you have to understand, because Roadhog is. I'll explain it and then I'll get to that. So during the spawn phase, you're in spawn, and the difference. Let me just write this out. I think I might have spelled that wrong. That's fine. The difference between during the spawn phase, you're sitting in spawn. The poke phase is when you start doing damage to someone. And the difference, like what separates the spawn phase and the poke phase is your positioning. So in the spawn phase, you're confined to a position. You're in spawn, you're stuck. And what you're doing in between the spawn phase and the poke phase is you're repositioning. You're looking to get high ground, you're looking to get a better position. Now, as a defending team, you start out kind of, in that positioning phase when those doors open, because you should already be in a good position. But as an attacking team, during this is how a team fight plays out. You go from the spawn phase to trying to find a good position to start doing poke. And poke this is where Roadhog does really well. This is the phase that Roadhog is most effective in, because think about it. What you're doing in the poke phase is you're looking for an opportunity. You're shooting the enemy, you're seeing if you can get them low, you're seeing if you can catch them out of position, you're seeing if they waste a cooldown, they use something incorrectly, and then that opportunity turns into an engagement. That turns into the engagement, which is, a kill. That's what the engagement is. You kill someone, you get a pick. And essentially, during this poke phase as Roadhog, you are incredibly good because of Hook. Hook is a huge threat. Like, the threat of Hook is incredible, because someone's out of position, you got a Hook. Now that turned from a poke phase into an engage phase, because now you can kill that person and you're up one. And it's during the poke phase that as Roadhog you flank a little bit. You look for those cheeky angles to get those nice hooks. Get those nice hooks onto supports or back onto the back line or the DPS, or rarely the tanks. Usually you don't hook the tanks unless you have a specific plan, because they usually have something to protect themselves. Reinhardt has a shield, Zarya has bubbles. Like, they have cooldowns to help them get out and escape. That's what tanks do. But it's during the poke phase that you take these short little flanks to try and get nice hooks. Now, what you were talking about before, like, when do you go on wild flanks? It's okay to go on flanks through the poke engagement. But once the engagement starts for your team, you do not want to be on a flank. You either want to be, back kind of with your team, or like, you don't want to be in the middle of nowhere to be found when the engagement happens. And the engagement, remember, it can happen the other way around. So if someone gets a pick on your team, the engagement has now happened. That's the stage you're in. And for example, because this is actually probably very important to understand as Roadhog too, if you're in the engage phase, just like right now, and I know who's kind of freeze frame, the frame we're at, your Junkrat killed their Ashe. So if this was the enemy team right now, if we were looking at the enemy team, what they should be doing is they should be probably soft resetting, even though they're probably going to kill you here, so it'll be even. But I want to talk about this concept. So soft resetting is going from the engage phase, soft, back to the poke phase. So you're no longer full-on inting into the enemy to try and kill them. You're kind of just chilling out a little bit, waiting for your person to respawn. You would soft reset if you're down one player, maybe if you're down two players. But if you're down a couple players, what you're going to end up doing is hard resetting. And that's when you go back to the spawn. So that's hard resetting, is when you go from the engage phase back to the spawn phase. And you could hard reset by dying, by jumping off. If you can make it back, make it back. And that's, if you hear people talk about that concept of like soft reset or hard reset, that's what that means. Transition back to the poke phase if it's a soft reset, transition back to the spawn if it's a hard reset. But as Roadhog, very rarely do you want to hard reset unless the enemy is going to completely push you. So unless you're the only one alive, you usually want to go back to this poke phase, because this is where you get value. This is where you take these mini flanks, or you look for hooks where the enemy isn't paying attention. This is the stage where you get value. Once you're in the middle of a fight, Roadhog isn't that great. Like, he's good, but objectively, a high charge Zarya is way better than a Roadhog if you're in the middle of a fight. Where Roadhog shines is his hook. Is during that poke phase, he gets that nice hook. He gets, that's where he gets value. So, and you kind of did this at the beginning. Instead of just going out, like at the beginning of this map in Junkertown, instead of just going and sitting in the cart, you went up the stairs, you looked for a hook. You guys killed the Hanzo, which was a great job, but, could have hooked the Hanzo. That would be you're looking for that. That's your poke phase. You position to the high ground, and then you looked for poke. Now, to talk about what just happened here, you dropped to the low ground, and there's almost no reason for Roadhog or any real character to drop to the low ground, especially if you're going to drop in the middle of their team. So if you drop to the low ground, there should be a reason for it. So you need to reposition to somewhere, you're trying to save someone from your team. Other than that, just stay on the high ground and keep shooting. Like, you could absolutely have landed this hook from the high ground, probably done everything the same, but now you're kind of just starting to feed. So, and you lost your life for it. And your team will probably lose this. Looks like that's the way it's going. So like right now, what phase are you in? And if you kind of were paying attention, right now you're in a soft reset phase. You're back in the poke phase. You're already down 2. Your Hammond's probably going to die here. You're going to be down 3. You don't want to full on engage into them. You don't win that engagement. But you don't want to go sit and spawn and wait for everyone to regroup and then walk out. So you want to be in that poke phase. You want to sit on the high ground. You want to take some shots, especially for you as Roadhog. If they have someone else that can boop you off high ground, so they have another Roadhog who can hook you down, they have a Pharaoh who can boop you, they have whatever, they have someone that can get you down, then you have to be worried. But right now they can't really do anything to you. There's no ability that can one-shot you, so you can kind of sit high ground. You have take a breather is great. So much survivability there. So yeah. So like this is fine. You're looking for angles here to get hooks, which is exactly what you should be doing in the poke phase. Kind of sitting, looking for angles. I think we have to talk about hooks. Okay, so let's talk about hooks for a second. Let me just actually write down where we are. 147, just because I actually have to go into the training range to talk about this. Having said that, I really do like replay share codes. They're a little weird for me to use because I haven't used them before, because then it's hard to keep my Overwatch going. Just flip to it, so this might be a little trouble for me for a little while. But there's essentially 2 kinds of hooks, and maybe there's 3 arguably, but there's 2 styles of hooking. And those styles are prediction hooking. So in a prediction style hook, I predict that the bot's going to be here, and I hook. Actually kind of messed that one up, but you guys didn't see anything. And then there's tracking. So a tracking is you'd track the bot and you'd hook the bot. Now, you want to use some combination of both. And the reason tracking works is because when you hit shift, there is a small amount of room that you can move your crosshair and the hook will still go to the target. So I can hold my crosshair here, hit shift, move my crosshair to the bot, and it'll still grab the bot. So I don't want to say you want to use a combination of both. So you don't want to just do like the crazy hooks you see in montages, those 360 or whatever, 180 I guess in that case, or 360 or however many. Those are usually prediction hooks. You know where the tracer is going to blink, you flick your crosshair to that, you throw that hook. But many times Roadhogs will use tracking hooks where they'll kind of track the target and throw their hook. So you probably want to use a combination of each. Right now, though, I've been kind of watching your hooks, and I'll talk about it if it's different, but I think what you're doing is you're just throwing your hook wherever you are, and you don't move your crosshair. You just hope that they walk into your hook, which is definitely not a good way to try and get hooks. Your hook accuracy is going to be incredibly low doing that. So like if you want to do prediction hooks, that's fine, but that does take quite a bit of practice, because then you're kind of looking at animations of things. You're trying to predict if someone's going to walk left or right, which is kind of what happened with that Ashe. You just kind of predicted a little bit wrong. But if you use tracking hooks to some degree, a little bit, it makes it a lot easier for you to get these very consistent hooks. So I would definitely start fooling around with what is the best way to do this? probably go into like deathmatch and play that. But a lot of your hooks so far that I've seen have just been you place your crosshair somewhere and you hook, and if it doesn't hook the target, then you don't move your crosshair at all, which really kills kind of so much of Roadhog's kit. Because to be completely honest, as a Roadhog player, you need to have at least 50% hook accuracy to have any real impact on the game. Because you got to think about it. Of all those people that you hooked, not all of them you can kill. Some of them will get, bubbles or support from the enemy team. So you need to have pretty much 50% accuracy to really get any actual value on Roadhog. We switch back to replays.
Welcome to Junk Ready for Battle.
And I think... Yep. And then we got to go to about I think it was 47. You guys are going to have to bear with me a little bit. But yeah. Oh. Yep, just keep shooting up here from the high ground. This is also fine, because you're, you guys did get a kill, which is really, really good. I think you're still down your Hammond at this point, but you're still kind of in the poke phase, into the engage phase. So you're looking for cheeky angles, which is really, really good as Roadhog. That was just incredibly unlucky. Nice hook on the Reinhardt. But hooking Reinhardt's is a little rough. So hooking characters like Reinhardt or other characters with a shield is kind of just... Wow, the Reinhardt's moving a little bit. It's kind of just disrespectful to them in some sense, because most good Reinhardt... Now, obviously, you hooked him during a fire strike, so he had animation, so you were guaranteed to land that hook. But unless you know that, which I doubt you would, or you know the animation for fire strike, which if you do, PogChamp, you'll get massive value out of that. You're just kind of disrespecting the player with the shield, which is okay to do, but just be aware of that, because as you climb, Reinhardts won't fall for this. Reinhardts will block your hooks. Other characters with shields will block your hooks. Like wow, the animation just keeps going. Also, you needed to melee after you shot that Reinhardt. So even though I slightly messed it up, we're at 215. I will talk about it. I like your Roadhog skin, though. It's a Pog skin I like. Yeah. So for a Roadhog, you want to get this nice hook, left click melee combo, because that's what kills most squishy characters, and you should try and ingrain this into your soul if you are going to be a Roadhog player. So there's a couple different combos you have. Obviously you can shoot, well, that wasn't really, you can shoot, hook, and then left click melee. But what you want to be doing, and you can look at my keys for this, is you want to hook. After you've connected a hook, you want to hold down left click and then press melee, and then it'll automatically left click melee in that order. So, and obviously you want to be aiming for the head. I didn't really do that there, but it's a bot. Now, something else you want to do during that process is you want to walk forward to close the distance. So that's what that combo should look like. I'll do it one more time. And that should pretty much kill any 200 HP hero. Even a 250 HP hero, it should, if you do it perfectly, you can kill Reaper out of that. But the reason you hold left click after you hook is when you go up against characters like Tracer, even like Reaper, if they have a Wraith, if they have Blink, if they have Recall, if you're not fast enough, if you don't hold that down, they can escape that. But theoretically, if you do the combo perfectly, and as long as you don't have some wacky ping, or they have, as long as there isn't wacky ping involved, you should be able to kill them very consistently. I think we are at 215. 215. Missed the hook on the Anna. That was unlucky. Well, it was more than unlucky. It was just a poorly... I use unlucky, but let's be real. Unlucky is just what we tell ourselves when we don't want to admit we messed up. But... So, like, what phase are we in right now? And if you're kind of well, we'll let the cart... There we go. What phase are we in right now? We let the cart cap. We are back to the poke phase. So what you're going to be doing here is you're going to want to be pushing forward a little bit, going on small flanks. No ridiculous flanks. You don't have to go on anything crazy, but looking for angles to get hooks on people. Now, obviously, we know that their Ashe is behind you because we could see through walls. Whether you would have known this is debatable, but yeah, you want to be looking for picks here. You're back to the poke phase. If you get a pick here that steamrolls the engagement, you win the next engagement. Although her dynamite should have kind of you should have been able to connect the dots there that there was an Ashe behind, or there should have been comms realistically, but hopefully someone kills her. But yeah, so like right now you're sitting in the cart, which is kind of useless because you're not there's no engagement here. The enemies are still in like the spawn phase. They're still in the positioning phase. They're going from spawn to positioning, and this is the perfect time for you to catch them because you're already set up, which you're not. You're just sitting on cart, but you could be set up in the poke phase, so you could be high ground with your Hyanzo. You could be on small little flanks to try and get hooks. So you could be... Oh, I forgot to change my display. You could be like around this corner over here looking for a hook up main. You know, there's not really that much threat of you dying as Roadhog because of how big you are and how much heals you guys have, and you have, you know, take a breather unless you get really antied or something. But you should be looking, you should be doing poke right now, not sitting on cart. You don't need to babysit cart. Once the engagement happens, then you have to babysit cart because then no one else can. No one else can take the damage like you can because you're Roadhog. But until that point, until that engagement, until you transition from, you know, poke phase to engagement, you should be absolutely out in the front doing poke, you know. Having said that, you should also probably be checking high ground up here. I guess over there, you know, up and over, just to make sure that there's nobody left there. Because I don't know if you are or aren't hitting tab or keeping track of people. Obviously, we can see through walls, so I don't think there's anyone there, but, you know, this is something should be routine for you. So, like, your ball actually did a really good job here, which is surprising, of kind of going and doing poke in the sense that he just rolled forward and used his ultimate to try and mess up their positioning phase to allow the cart to push further. But yeah, if you were on a little flank right now, instead of pushing cart, you get a nice hook in, maybe kill somebody, get a nice couple shots. It's like, you don't add any value pushing cart here. There's already 3 people is the max that can push cart, and you guys have 4 on cart. And realistically, the Junkrat shouldn't be on cart either, but we're not talking about the Junkrat. You need to be doing poke here. You need to be looking, you know, if you were high ground, you could have maybe got a hook on somebody. Could have, you know, you need to be looking for these short flanks to get hooks during the poke phase, which is what this is right now. So, oh, this just turned from poke to the engagement. The enemy got a pick on you, so they went to engagement. So now, chances are, because you guys are really a poke-based team, you're not brawl at all, and they are they're pretty brawl because of dynamite and because of Rein Zarya and the healers they have. They're gonna just rush into you, so you probably would want to be soft resetting right now. So backing up a little bit, transitioning back to poke phase, kind of keeping out of reach of them, and just keep shooting, looking for hooks, looking for stuff like that. Yeah, that's, you know, it's okay. Yeah, as Roadhog in particular, you really need to think, what phase is the fight in? What am I doing during this phase? What should I be doing during this phase? So, your Junkrat did a really good job. Like, he wasn't on cart, he backed up, and he got a pick, which is really, really cool. You know? And again, even your Hanzo, like, look, your Hanzo's sitting back here, he's just doing poke. He's not ready to engage, so he's just trying to get a pick. He's doing what he can. I don't think you can stand on that ledge. But so, like, again, right now, although you did look for a hook here, which is really, really good, really, really pog, you just went to their main line, or to their front line, which, especially against the Reinhardt has shield, it's incredibly hard to hook anyone around shield. What you should be doing, because you were still in this positioning phase, where you were still getting position, figuring out where you want to be positioned, is you could go sit high ground, you could go clear out the, you can go clear out the tunnel up here where that little exit is, all the way going down. You could go sit in there, kind of clear that off, look for a nice hook onto someone else, even go across the bridge above you right here, look for a hook onto their back line. You're in the positioning phase. Get a position that you like, get a position that you want to keep. Do it quickly, but because right now you're just going to shoot shield, and this is going to be, you're going to get no value here unless you land some miraculous hook. But just try. If your game plan is to land some miraculous hooks, all I'm going to say is you better be really good at hooking. But that's not how most Roadhogs play. And that's not how you should be playing as a Roadhog. Because you're just going to shoot shield, which is cool, and it's really nice that you shoot shield because you are a poke comp, but you're not going to kill the Reinhardt with this. He has healers, he has resources, he has, he can back up, he has bubble, you're not going to kill a Reinhardt here. Should hook this Bob away from your team. Yeah, so like they're really, you got, yeah, this is a reset here, soft reset. I mean, so I guess okay, let's talk about Hog's ult, because I know that was one of the things that was on your list to talk about. Hog's ultimate isn't really that good for a variety of reasons. Like, it is good under weird and certain circumstances, but of the tank ultimates, his is probably one of the worst. For the biggest reason just being that he can't use Take a Breather during Whole Hog, and Whole Hog pushes people away. So you do have to ult in rooms, which is very nice that you did, or ult to push people away, either one. Ult in a room or in a space where the enemy can't go backwards if you want to get a kill, so which is really, really nice. The bigger question is, like, during the time of your ult, what value does this ult provide? So, like, you guys, you were in the engagement phase. I'm pretty sure you lost the engagement phase. We'll see. I think a couple other people on your team died. So you should have been soft resetting or hard resetting, but for you, particularly soft resetting back to the poke phase. And now you decided to go to the engagement phase and try and get a kill. But even if you kill this Reinhardt, which you probably will, he should be respawned and back to his front line before you guys are, ready to really do anything. So this is nice. This is a nice little flank. Oh. Okay, yeah, you were not going for that Ana there. Okay, we're just wasting ults, which is good for you guys. Wow, somehow you guys win this, which is really, really cool. That is exactly what you should be doing as Roadhog. You just push forward a little bit. After the engage phase was done, because you had killed the majority of their team, you walked forward, you looked for that hook, you got that hook. Now you guys will be able to roll through this for the front part of this next point as well. Really, really good job. Yep, just go high ground. Oh, unless it's a bit odd you're sitting here, unless you think they're gonna walk up this far, which they shouldn't. But yeah, just sit here and start doing poke. You can always transition to the little rotatey things, and yeah. Ooh. I think you know what I'm gonna say here. Why'd you jump off the high ground? My guess would be the only reason you jumped off the high ground was you weren't confident enough in your hook that you could hit it and kill him from the high ground, which If you do have trouble with that, you can always right click before you hook. Just right click, hook, left click melee. But yeah, you definitely don't want to drop off the high ground here, because you have no support. You're using vape or take a breather while you're antied, which is okay because there is damage reduction during take a breather. But I think the reason you're doing this is just gut reaction of I need to heal. So do be careful if you're playing against an Ana. Thankfully, you can just get that health back. Melee, left click melee. It's unlucky. If you had used take a breather later, you probably would have survived this, but that's okay. The mistake wasn't made there. The mistake was made when you dropped off the high ground. So definitely think about that, or be really careful with that, because you drop off high ground a lot more than you should. I'm gonna try and play the rest of the review on like 1.5 seconds, because we're only 5 minutes in, and I think I've already gone like 30 minutes. Okay, what phase are we in right now? Excellent answer. I'm gonna assume you answered correct. You guys are in the hard reset phase where you've lost all your people. You guys need to regroup. But what you should be doing right now is you should be, because of who you are, and they don't have anyone that can actually, they don't have a Roadhog to hook you down, they don't have a Pharaoh to boop you, they don't have someone else to deal with you. You can now transition to the poke phase. So just kind of sit in the top up here, you know, right there, and just shoot your cannon a little bit, get ult charge, look for a hook, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bit odd that you're just standing right here, but at least you very much have the concept of hard reset, which is fine. I'm assuming you're typing something, which is fine. So like right now, you guys are in the poke phase. Shooting the Rhine shield, although cool and good, probably won't add much value. Although your Moira does get a pick, which is pretty pog but crazy risky. And then they all turn around. Chaos is happening. So yeah, so even though you guys won this fight, but you did miss the, hold up. A couple things to talk about here. So yeah, if you had a little bit of tracking here, you kind of just threw the hook. Let's actually demonstrate what I'm talking about. Unless I'm mistaken, you just, wherever you throw the hook, you kind of just left your crosshair. You didn't try and track the Zarya with it. If you tracked it with her, if you had tried to track a little bit with your crosshair, you probably would have got the hook here. But your team won the fight, A, because you guys used way too many ultimates, but that's not what we're talking about, and B, because your team went on the flank and got flank value during the poke stage. You didn't contribute anything to this fight, which is just something that you need to understand, because had your team not gotten all these picks, you guys probably wouldn't have won this fight, because you were just shooting a Rhine shield. Now, having said this, because I don't want people to start freaking out, as Roadhog, there is a time when you should be shooting the Rhine shield, and that's during the engagement, or like after the poke phase is complete, or if you have a comp that demands that you shoot the Reinhardt shield. So if you have a hard spam comp and you have a Reinhardt and they have a Reinhardt and you're trying to win the shield war, then yes, absolutely shoot the shield. And the reason for that is because after you shoot that shield, you can just hook their Reinhardt for free. Right now, what phase are we in? You're just sitting on the cart. Right now we're back to the poke phase. You guys won the engagement. Engagement is over. They're in, you know, the spawn phase. You're in the poke phase. So you should be right at their spawn, like right where your Hammond is where you should be, to be looking for a hook, for that poke, for that juicy hook to win you the next fight. But you're sitting on cart. So like now is not the time to be babysitting cart. So you do look for a hook, which is nice. A little bit late though. Nice, pulls her right into. It pulled her into the Hammond mines. There's no need to ult here, but like that's really nice. Kind of quarantine off Zarya. Probably shouldn't use quarantine right now. It's on the brain. But yeah, you kind of, and then your team wins this, which is really nice. But your team won this, I think, because the Hammond did this poke here, right? Which is actually surprising that your Hammond is not doing a terrible job. So, props to him. But yeah, it's really rough to be a Hammond at low ranks. What happens here? So your Junkrat's doing poke. You get a nice hook in, which is nice. Yeah, so I mean, decent job, but something to think about earlier, quicker, faster. Where should you be? What should you be doing? I'm going to try and speed through the rest of this, because I know I have been going for a long time. Ugh. Da-na-na-na-na. So, like, right now, what phase are you in? You know, you're in between the... So, like, right now, you're in between the spawn phase and the poke phase. You're in the positioning phase, where you should have a good position before, you know, as the enemy's leaving spawn. Which you kind of do, you know. Obviously, you could be looking for cheeky hooks, which is probably what I would be doing, you know. If you turn around... Yeah, you could be... You know, if you're more of a risky or daring Roadhog, you could be in the house over here looking for a hook out of spawn. Obviously, that's not always the best case scenario, because you can get picked doing stuff like that. But yeah, you should be kind of looking for hooks here, because right now you're really not doing anything. And if you're not looking for hooks, you should just be poking. You should just be throwing poke, waiting for a hook. You know, you haven't even looked at the card yet, which is pretty concerning. Yeah. Like this is an absolutely fine positioning right here. Whew. I saw that Briggs whiplash coming right at you. But yeah, this is absolutely fine positioning right here. You're very threatening where you are right here. You're going to look for hooks if people come to the high ground. Do pressure to whoever you can do pressure to. Usually shooting a shield isn't the greatest plan when there's... You know, when there's people with HP you can shoot, you probably shouldn't be shooting a shield. Just rule of thumb, but, you know, it's okay. It's good that you're shooting at something. You don't want to hook a Zarya, because you can't kill a Zarya, like, one shot. But you can kill a Moira, or you can kill a Brig, even though, again, Brig, like Ryan, is kind of... Any Brig worth their salt should be able to block your hook with their shield. But Moira is an excellent target. And even if you don't kill the Moira, you hopefully force fade. Where are we going? Like, what phase are we in? Poke phase. What should we be doing? Poke. Unless you, like, flank around. Oh, maybe you're checking the flank, which is fine, I guess. That's understandable. But yeah, just be looking for hooks, looking for kills. That's the phase you're in right now. Because right now, you guys don't have a brawl comp. If you guys get no picks, they will just straight steamroll this right through. Because if there's no picks, you don't win this fight. So you have to get a pick someone. You or someone on your team, but because we're coaching you, you know, you. Reposition back, which is okay. We dropped from the high ground. Also, yep, don't drop from the high ground. Also, why did we hook the Rhine here when there's, you know, plenty of other juicy targets? There's a Moira. There's, I think, someone back here. I don't even remember. But you know, what this would kind of indicate to me is that you're just not confident with your hook. Because, like, right now, this Moira isn't looking at you. So you should have no trouble hooking her whatsoever. But instead, you decide to opt for the Reinhardt, which is good that you hooked him. But, you know, it's pretty hard to kill a Reinhardt, you know, by yourself. So, and yeah, don't drop to the high ground to the low ground unless you absolutely have to. That was a prediction hook that went wrong. Which is okay, but that just kind of means you need to work on your prediction hooks. A fun little trick with Brig is their shield is, what's it, 400 HP? 500 HP? I'm pretty sure, you'd have to test this, but it used to be. I know they keep changing everything. It used to be, and I'm pretty sure it is right now, you can just shoot 2 shots, like 2 full shots into the Brig shield, will break the Brig shield, and after you shoot that second shot, you can just throw your hook, and The rig is kind of stuck. You just hook them. So like, yeah, right now you guys were in the engagement phase, which was good. You were sitting on cart. You were kind of being a tank, for lack of a better term. And now you guys lost 2 members, so you're back to the poke phase, or you're back to a reset phase. So going forward here, probably not the play. Having said that, you missed this hook on your Genji because I think this is probably one of the perfect hooks to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Where you throw the hook and don't move your crosshair at all. If you had used a little bit of tracking and tried to track the Genji a little bit with it, like you just hoped that the Genji would walk into your hook, which is not a good way to, like, you want to use prediction hooks when you know the enemy is going to move the way. So when the Hanzo uses lunge and you know which direction his lunge is, when the Tracer uses blink, and you know which direction her blink is, when the Hammond is rolling, or when whatever, when there's a reason why you think you can predict that. When someone's AD strafing, which is more or less what this Genji was doing, just use tracking hooks. You'll get way more. So something, yeah, you definitely should look at hook accuracy. I know you said the hook accuracy is okay, but it could improve. But definitely, you want to improve hook accuracy, but you want to improve hook accuracy and understanding the 2 different styles of how you hook someone and figuring out what your style is, but understanding when to use each. And like, if you have trouble with understanding that, just go watch a really good Roadhog streamer. So go watch Harblu, go watch what's it, CRY, I think, and or one of their VODs. Watch one of their VODs, and every time they hook, just slow it down, and you'll be able to pretty much visually see whether it was a prediction hook, whether it was a tracking hook, or whether it was a slight combination of one of the 2. And you can kind of see the scenarios when they use tracking or when they use prediction. And so, yeah. But again, right now, you guys aren't in the engagement part of the fight. You're down 2. You've lost 2 people. You pretty much have lost the engagement part of the fight. What you want to be doing is you want to be poking. So whether that's you back up, you go, there's the, I really want to demonstrate this, but I'm just gonna wait for you to turn around. Okay, yeah. Whether that is you go to the high ground up here and go back to the high ground, look for hooks, you back up, look for poke. You don't want to be taking an engagement right now. Like, yes, I understand they're pushing cart, but there's nothing you can do about this. If you go contest cart here, you just die. Like, you need to be, if you're down 2, and especially with the team comp that you have where you're very, very poke oriented, just be looking to do poke. Don't take an engagement. Let them push the cart. You won't win these fights anyway. So you just gotta let them push the cart. You gotta back up. You gotta be just looking for hooks. Wow, that Genji died to that. Feels bad. Yeah, it's at this point you guys are kind of just feeding. Nice hook. Having said that, though, you weren't animation canceling your left click melee, so if the Tracer hadn't died to her own bomb, she would have gotten away there. So something really to think about, because that could be a lot of trouble. But yeah, you should be doing poke right now. They have nothing that can stop you from doing poke. Just look down on the cart and start shooting. Get your ult a little bit faster. Get a hook, because yeah. If you're gonna if you want to reposition here, that's fine. I probably would still stay on the high ground, but so like right now you're not doing anything here. Yeah, you didn't after you throw a hook and connect, just hold down your left click and then melee, but left click first, then hold down melee, and you should be able to kill the Tracer like that. But yeah, I'm not sure what. Just having some fun here, I guess. We dropped from the high ground? Why? Yeah, I think that's definitely a trend for you. Like, a really great value hook onto the Moira. Like, 100%. Paul champ. But you could have done that from the high ground. There was no reason for you to drop. The only reason I can think that you're dropping is you're just not confident enough in your hooking ability. And if that's the case, then just go practice hook. But yeah, there's definitely no reason to drop from the high ground there. You're not in the engagement phase right now. You're still in the poke phase. Just keep hook, keep doing poke. So like, although this ultimate is cool, this will add no value unless you kill everyone, because your team has no follow-up because you're in the poke phase. Or like, I mean, technically your team might be in the positioning phase because so many of you died, but you should be in the poke phase, not in the engagement phase. You get shattered. Oh wow, your Hammond gets value. Man, your Hammond's doing work here. Maybe I have to take back what I said about lower SR Hammonds. Never. I won't take it back. Dude, this is really nice, really good positioning. You're going high ground. I don't know why you're looking at the ground here when it's pretty clear you're focusing on the tracer, like your eyes are. So I don't know why your crosshair isn't on the tracer. That's a bit odd. It's a bit odd why you're not shooting. Okay, there you go. That was a prediction hook, and a nice one. Unluckily, though, you jumped off the high ground, otherwise you probably could have just killed that tracer. Yep, one more reason not to jump off the high ground. You would have killed the tracer. I don't... Another nice prediction hook. But it's a bit odd that you're here and you're not... So, like... I'm pretty sure your team loses this fight. Because your Hammond's down. You know what? Let's actually have a look around. I haven't bothered to do this all game, but oh, your Junkrat is above you, which is nice. But yeah, you guys are all spread out. Like there's no support, so you're not in an engagement phase here. So you're just in the poke phase. So and it's nice that you got a hook. And if you can kill this Brig, that'll be really, really good. But even if you kill this Brig, you most likely will still die here unless your Junkrat really pops off, because their tanks are right here. They're just going to collapse on you and kill you. But if you had, instead went high ground and then been looking for hooks here, you would probably be safe and you could just transition out if you needed to. So, nice attempt. That Brig is reasonably low. But yeah, like now you have nowhere to go. Like your take a breather won't save you. So, and like if you just stayed alive a little longer, maybe you could have had a little bit more value. So, yeah, you guys, your team got stuck here. You kind of gave away all of second point, which is unlucky. But sometimes that happens. That's why you do have to be careful about, regrouping and whatnot. But yeah, for Roadhog, one of the most important things to learn is phases of a fight and what you're supposed to be doing during each phase, because they can be very drastically different things. Like generally as other tanks, what you do during each phase is similar, but Roadhog and Hammond are drastically different. So I like that you're on the spinny thing here, although you should be shooting the enemy here. What? Why did we jump down from the high ground? No. Like, you can't do anything down here. You could do everything from the high ground that you can on the low ground here. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you kill a Brig with Inspire, which is unlucky. That's like, yeah, I don't even know if you can. That's incredibly rough. But yeah, now you're just gonna get run over. Like, don't drop down. Like, the only reason, like, you can, like, so the thing is, with the comp that you're running, you can't really contest cart in the traditional way where it's like, oh, I will just walk to cart and contest it, because you'll just get rolled. Like, you don't have a brawl comp. You can't brawl. So what you have to do is you have to spam them out as much as you can before the cart moves super far, and just use your spam to win overtime, because you win that duel. Overtime, if you just stay high ground and keep right clicking them, keep left clicking them, you guys will win that. You have, more poke than they do. They have a weird combination of dive and brawl, which is interesting in and of itself. But, You know, if you just stay high ground with your Ashe, with your Ana, I think your Ana was high ground, the threat of your hook alone will be enough to deter a lot of the flankers, and the spam damage you put out alone will be enough to eventually, you know, break shields, lower HPs enough, and you guys will just win that fight. Yeah, again, massive disrespect to the brig, which I'm all for disrespect, but usually it won't work, especially as you go up ranks. Brigs will block those. Just shoot her shield. I think twice. I have to go test that, but I'm pretty sure shoot her shield twice, and then you can just hook her. Unlucky prediction hook. But yeah, I think you definitely want to look into practice hooking. Might as well throw a hook there. Even if it was like max distance, if you can land that, you know, that's a huge kill. Even though your Hammond did fall up and get the kill. You're gonna ult this is fine. But this is fine because that's a really nice kill in the Roadhog. But you do have to be careful walking forward with your ult here because you have no healing. You kill the Genji, which is nice, but yeah, there's a Brig and Roadhog, so this is probably not going to go well for you. Really nice shot on the Tracer, but... So probably what I would have done is after killing the Reinhardt there, I would have just waited for my whole hog to end, and then take a breather to heal back up, and then continue to look for hooks. So... Oh, what's up, Bastion? Also, remember, usually this isn't applicable, but for you right now, think about where your Bastion is, and like, he can only add value when the enemies turn that corner. So, even though you do want to spam, the real engagement you guys are going to take is after the enemies turn that corner, because that's when your Bastion can help. No reason to drop off high ground here. Let me talk about this, because this is... I did not look what time I was at now. This is really good tech to know. Like how to get back on the high ground. Junkertown. So yeah, this is probably... First of all, like I was saying, don't leave the high ground. There's no real reason to. In a different comp, there might be if you were trying to win a shield war, but especially in the comp you're in, you know, think about what value you provide. Like, what do you actually do for your team? And for right now, especially if it's in the poke phase, you got to get hooks. So you drop from the high ground, you fall down, and if you need to get back up onto the high ground, pretty much the way you do that is you walk here, you jump here, you jump here, and then you're back up. Now I'll do this a little bit slower in more steps, so while I explain. So on this track of this, whatever this is, you can jump up, walk it up it a little bit, and then from here you want to look kind of at this beam-ish. You know, you have a little range, because you want to jump. Oh wow, I don't know why I used hook. My bad. You want to jump onto the end of this piece of whatever. And then from here, I'll actually just wait so I don't mess this up. You just jump to here, and then you're up top here. There actually is a way to get up from this other side as well. It's a little bit more cumbersome. So you jump on this leg, and then you jump on this corner. Yep. And then you jump on this bar, which I messed up. Yep, you're on the bar. Dang it, push me off. And then you jump on this middle platform over here. This one's not quite as useful because of the position that it's in. Because usually your enemies will be here and they'll have line of sight on you. But this other one over here is really incredibly useful if you need to get back up onto the high ground. So, yeah. Just useful tidbits on how to get back to the high ground. Now we have to figure out where we were.
Welcome to Junkertown for battle.
I don't think we were quite... Were we this far? I should have taken note of the time. No, we were probably around here, right? Oh no, we were farther. We were past this. Then you sit over here. Okay, yeah, we were about here. Nope. Sorry about that. That's the only other thing I do have to get used to. VODs. Oh. And... oh, I went too far. My bad, my bad. Yep. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just turning down my Overwatch a little bit because I realize it might be a little bit too loud. And I prefer not to have that happen. Okay, yeah. Sit on the high ground here. You see your bastion. You walk off. Yep, and then we talked about all this kind of stuff. Because yeah, you can definitely still look from hooks on the high ground. It's still the same. So like this is a nice little... wow, that's a good hook. This is a nice little cross position. It's a little bit dangerous. And your team got 2 picks, which is, you know, because the Bastion, like line of sight with the Bastion, so you let them turn the corner, and now you get massive value with the Bastion. But this is kind of a nice little weird side, and this is nice. You're going to go on a little mini flank here, even though you guys already won this fight, but go on a nice mini flank. You know, it's not a huge flank. You didn't spend the whole time flanking, but nice little mini flank. This position makes no sense because you're not actually on a flank here, because you're still going to be, the Reinhardt will still be in front of you, so it would make more sense to go, you know, over here if you want to go up there, or go up the high ground, or even go over back here. All of those would be okay, or obviously my favorite or preferred would still just be, you know, go to the high ground above you. And I forgot to turn back to display. I'm sorry. So what I was saying was you can go over here, you can go up the stairs, you can go over here, or again, my preferred, to go to the high ground above you. So I'm sorry about that. I forgot to turn back to my display. Yeah, so like right now, during that whole 5 seconds, you know, you got no value, which I mean, right now you got tons of value because you just got a nice hog hook, but you should have been getting way more value because that was the poke phase. Nice anti by your Ana. No need to reload here. You have 5 shots. Oh boy. That was pretty embarrassing, but unlucky. Yeah, I think that's just something, you know, to kind of practice with. I think I'm seeing a trend here of like missing a lot of hooks. I don't know what your hook accuracy is, but I don't think it's above 50, at least in this particular game. So, you know, I know you said you think you have decent hook accuracy, but you really should work on hook accuracy, which I think will come with understanding the 2 different kinds of hooks, the tracking and prediction, and kind of learning both of them and utilizing some. Like you can prefer one, you can use one as a preferred method over the other, but kind of using them both in certain circumstances and understanding them. And, you know, I think that would improve your hook accuracy tremendously. That's unlucky. That was a prediction hook that just he wasn't there. This is a really nice flank, even though your team has really got rolled here a little bit, but like this is really nice. These are the kind of little mini flanks that you want to be on, because this isn't a major flank here. You can kind of pop back and help your team, even though your team had died here. But now you can get a nice hook onto the Zenyatta. That was incredibly unlucky. But I feel like for this hook, you just threw it into the middle of a crowd and hoped to hook someone, which didn't happen. But so, like, you didn't move your crosshair at all. So I don't think you were, unless you're trying to hook that Genji, who's pretty far away. Yeah. I mean, you can ult here, but you'd probably die regardless. That's, you know. All right, we've gone for about an hour, so I think I will stop the VOD here. Because, to be quite frank, I don't have too much more time to review this VOD review. But I think I have a couple of suggestions for you to kind of help you be a little bit better of a Roadhog. So for you, the three things that I would work on is hook, and more specifically, hook accuracy. And when I say hook accuracy, I think that if you think about and learn like tracking versus prediction hooks and when to use them, and like I said before, if you need good examples of this, go watch Harblu, go watch like VODs of Harblu, VODs of I think I don't know who. There's another really good Roadhog player. I think I said him earlier in the video. Go watch them. Go watch their VODs. Anytime they hook someone, slow it down and just kind of look and see. Oh, when did they use a tracking hook? When did they use a prediction hook? And kind of when are they flanking? How far are they flanking? Because to answer your previous question, should you protect your team more? That depends. Depends on what comp you're running. If you're running a very bunker comp, if you're running a very comp that demands your time and attention, then sure, sit with your team. But in many cases, Roadhog's best phase is his poke phase, and he needs to be getting value during that phase. You can't just be sitting on the cart, pushing the cart like other people can do that. During the times, during an engagement when your team has to back off because they can't take the pressure of sitting on the cart, then yes, absolutely sit and contest the cart. But until that phase comes, you can't be sitting on the cart. So hook was the first thing. The second thing for you is high ground. You drop off the high ground a tremendous amount, which I'm assuming is just a habit from having an Orisa player or a Reinhardt player. And like with an Orisa player, it's fine because you're looking for the pulls, so you want to be in a position where you have the same line of sight as the Orisa does, so when she throws a pull, you can get a hook. And with a Roadhog or with a Reinhardt player, maybe, but again, high ground is so powerful for denying flankers, for getting better angles, for not being able to get picked or run over, especially if you don't have a comp that can deal with that. Like if you don't have a brawl comp and you can't just sit there and take their beating, just stay high grounded. You can just, they can't do anything. There's nothing they can do. So yeah, definitely stay high ground. Really think when you drop from high ground, there should be a reason for it. So every time you drop from high ground, I want you to think, why am I dropping from high ground? And if there's a reason for it, that's fine. If you have a particular reason, but if there isn't any, just stay high ground. And then the third thing for you is to think about the different phases that an Overwatch teamfight has, and which I kind of explained in the beginning, so you'd have to rewind back to that and understand, like always be thinking of that, thinking when is the poke phase, because that's when you are most powerful as Roadhog. So when do you need to be repositioning so you can get nice hooks during that poke phase, because that's how you will convert, like ultimately over time, because obviously you're the people you play with, the teams that you play with, they'll all change. The only constant factor is you. Over time, if you get those hooks, if you get value during that poke phase, that's what will carry you. That's what will win you games. You don't go on crazy flanks, because like I said, if you're flanking during the engagement phase, you're doing something incorrectly. You should be on nice little flanks during the poke phase, get nice little hooks, little cheeky hooks onto places people aren't expecting, little maybe backline, maybe DPS that are out of position. Tanks not so much because it's hard to kill a tank, but if the opportunity presents itself, sure. Yep, just be doing that. Understand when the poke phase is in the phases of team fights and always be asking yourself that. So those are the three things I think I would work on for you. To answer your question a little bit, when should you be using alt? You should be using alt not as an alt to kill people, but more as an objective. So if you want to push people away from something, use alt. If you want to, if the Genji nanoblade, if they nanoblade a Genji, you can use alt to push away the Genji. If they nano a Reinhardt, obviously you're probably going to get shattered because usually that's what happens, but maybe you could push away the Reinhardt if, your team needs some peel and you can just push the enemies away. But like I said, Roadhog's ult is probably the weakest out of the tank ults. Roadhog has such good survivability, and when he ults, he doesn't have that survivability. He moves a lot slower. He can't use take a breather, so you should use it sparingly. And using it to just get one pick is fine. I know you used it on the Reinhardt a couple times. That's completely fine. You let a Reinhardt in, bait him in, use it, kill the Reinhardt. That's okay. But even during the one time when you did use your ult on the Reinhardt, be careful when you push him out, because you still can't use, like, after you kill the Reinhardt, you can't use take a breather. So you want to be waiting for a minute. Maybe just let your ult finish. Like, you don't have to be trying to get value with your ult every single time. You can just let it finish, use your take a breather, then go back into the fight. So I hope I answered all your questions. If I didn't, you can always send me a message on Discord or, whatever. I'm always happy to kind of talk about this kind of stuff when I have time. I really appreciate you pinging me when you posted the VOD. It really means a lot. Made it a lot easier for me to find it and schedule it into my schedule. For everyone else watching, if you've made it this far through the VOD, PogChamp, if you want me to review one of your VODs, then post them in the Elo Hell Discord in the VOD request channel and tag me, Panda2050. Like I said, when you tag me, I kind of set aside time for it and I just think about it a little bit more. I'll put all the links to everything in the description, and I hope you've learned something from this review, and best of luck climbing.